Hey, welcome back to Whiskey Thieves TV. You got the General here, and today we're in the beautiful Pacific Northwest with a little rain coming down. And we are at Westward Whiskey, and we're doing a VIP tour with Miles Munroe, the master distiller. Let's go inside and see what's going on.
So this is our production facility. This is the distillery where it's all made, start to finish, grain to glass, man, right here. So yeah, this is the beginning of the process, right? So we've got our barley right here. Our maltster calls high color base malt. So this is like the building blocks of craft beer. 2-row base malt barley. And then we'll mill it, we'll crush it open.
Oh yeah.
So then when we crush it, you can see those white kernels. That's what we're after, that's the starch.
That's what you're going for. That's the starch right there, the white kernels.
So yeah, just watch your step. There's some hoses and some puddles. So yeah, we're mashing here. Again, we're separating the liquid out from the grain, going into here. Now, the kettle in brewing, this is where you'd add your hops during the boil, right? But we're not hopping the beer, it's destined for whiskey.
Right.
But we do a quick boil to actually pasteurize it. As you can see our fermenters that are behind us, these tall tanks, these are beer fermentation tanks. They're closed fermentation tanks. They're not open fermentation like you'd see a lot with bourbon. Our whole approach is creating great flavor every step of the way.
Right.
And that includes fermentation. For us, it's a cool, slow fermentation, like 96 to 120 hours.
Okay.
5 to 6 days.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
man.
fermentation happens, then what?
Well, so again, this is a slow, low temp fermentation
Right.
because if you go too fast, you can create a lot of off flavors. And actually what I want to do, before we move on, I actually want to pull some wash from one of these fermenters for you to try. That's beer.
That's beer, baby. That's crazy. I love it.
Beer that is destined to become delicious whiskey.
So is this part of the tour normally? You guys do
Yeah.
bring everyone through? 'Cause that's cool, because I've never seen that.
Yeah, we pull the wash.
Yeah.
I mean, we want people to try this, and you'll see why.
Oh yeah, I could see someone pulling tap on this all day long.
Right.
It's light, it's refreshing,
Super drinkable.
but it does have flavor profiles that relate back to your single malt. Like when I'm drinking, this, I get some kind of nuances of Westward single malt. So yeah.
And that's the idea. You know, we as brewers realize there's so much flavor potential in fermentation.
Yeah.
We want that to come through. As you'll see when we get to the other side, our stills, we call them low reflux stills. The columns on the stills are very, very short.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of refinement.
Right.
So there's very little room for error. So any kind of, I call them fermentation sins you may commit on this
Here.
side are going to
Yeah.
be amplified as we distill.
And was that by choice, meaning you want to make sure that the variant is limited as far as, I guess controlling the whole process, but also the idea of having little room for error makes you more accountable, but makes everything more consistent too.
Precisely.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's in a way also, that's how we get so much flavor preserved from this side of things. Why I feel like there is so much grain character in Westward.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that double-edged sword. It's like we want all this to come through, but we have to be very careful in how we do it here, because if we make one wrong move, it's going to be
that never
magnified.
happens. That
Oh
never
no, of
happens.
course not. True
Ever.
professionals.
Yeah,
True
never
professionals.
happens.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. So
All right.
where are we now?
We're on the hot side.
Yeah.
We're on the hot side of things. So we've made our wash. We fermented it out. We've got this great, about 8.5% beer wash that we're sending over here to the still now, and we're gonna distill that delicious alcohol and flavor out, man. You can see right here, it's coming off. This is our first run, what we call the low wines or the wash run. You can get a taste.
Is that? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's cold. I was thinking it was gonna be warm, but no, it's cold.
Nice and cool. That's
Cooled it down from gas to liquid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, this is powered by internal steam coils.
Yep.
Heat it up, get that beer going. As that vapor starts to travel up, right? It's all about boiling points. So alcohol boils at a lot lower temperature than water, right? So at about 170, 171 degrees, we've got that vapor coming out, and then that will drop back down into the still. That's what we call reflux or refinement.
Okay.
And the more reflux or refinement that you have, the lighter spirit you're going to get. But so we've got our barrels going to the barrel house. Age is about 4.5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
We don't use age statements, and we'll get into that in the tasting. But when it's done, so I'm also the head blender, and I'll put together a blend of 18 to 20 barrels or so.
Okay.
Ship those back here. They'll go into a blending tank. We'll then proof it down to bottling strength, and then we bottle here as well. It's all done here,
Gotcha.
every step of the way.
So now that we concluded the distillation process, let's head to bottling.
Yeah, I'll show you where
Yeah.
it reaches the end,
Let's
into the
do
bottle
it.
and out to the people. This is actually a brand new bottling line that we just got in last week.
Oh, wow.
So the tech just left from getting it all dialed in and set up. And so we still need to bolt it in and get it put in
So
place.
how do you decide on, this is a silly question, but how do you decide on a bottling labeling machine? I mean, it looks so complex and
They really are.
It's
Man, I tell you what, getting into distillation, I never knew this would be the most complicated part of things.
Right?
And especially too, we've got a custom bottle. This is custom designed for us. So it has to be a specific line that can actually process this bottle.
because this is not run-of-the-mill.
No.
You got the mountain kind of vibe
It's
to it.
asymmetrical.
Yeah.
It's its own certain height.
Now, I know sometimes you have the metal medallions on that. Does this, are you able to do that here?
The metal medallions are actually put on by hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little love there.
Every single one.
Yeah, a little
truly
love.
handcrafted.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. So I mean, you've got your filler here.
Okay.
Brings it down to what we call our capper. Right, you put that topper on, then off to labeling on this side. And as I just said, this is a new line.
Yeah.
The one, so a lot of it was still being done by hand.
So yeah.
And this is a bit more automated, so we can, just knock a bit more out.
So I got to stop you real quick and ask you this silly question, but
Sure.
Corks. I'm looking at your topper over there, and you guys
Yeah.
stay true to the original corks. But I see a lot of synthetic hitting the market. Is there any pros and cons?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, we prefer the cork for our own reasons, but I absolutely understand why people go synthetic. So there is a bit of a finish that the manufacturer will put on over the cork.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you still run the risk of the cork coming apart.
Right. Disintegrating over time.
it can shrink, and so then you have
expansion,
whiskey leaking out of
Yeah.
the bottle.
That's not good.
So yeah, I mean, there's some cons to the natural cork.
Yeah.
We like it. We have had some issues with it in the past. So, I mean, I'm not going to stand here and say we will always stay with cork.
Okay.
Because if it gets to a point where it is actually too much of a detriment to the whiskey itself, then yeah, we'll go with
synthetic. Yeah.
And we love showing people through the whole distillery, showing everybody our whole process.
Yeah, the whole process, start
absolutely.
to finish. Grain to glass. Speaking of that, I think we're gonna go into the tasting room now, right?
Yes.
Let's go get some
Let's
of that.
sip some whiskey.
All right, let's go. That flowed actually pretty good, that grain to glass little comment. I'm just saying. Out of it. Hey.
Did we just become best friends?
We might have.
I think we did.
We might have. We might have.